How's it going, comic book fans? Welcome back to Comic Drops. Today we're diving into the thrilling continuation of the Ninjak vs. Roku series from Valiant Comics and Alien Books. This comic is written by A.J. Ampadu with pencils by Diego Garibaldi and colors by Lautaro Tulli. So does it maintain the quality established in storytelling and art in the first issue? Stay tuned to find out. Alright, let's talk about the narrative quality of Ninjak vs. Roku issue number 2. This comic picks up right after the events of issue number 1. We find Ninjak and Roku on his jet, flying to Japan to confront the Jonin, the former head of the ninja program at MI6. During their flight, we see a different side of Roku through a flashback of her meeting Mary Beth, who has been taken hostage by the Jonin. Roku empathizes with Mary Beth because they were both turned into weapons against their will. Ampadu does a fantastic job providing dynamic characterization for Roku here, who has often been one-dimensional in previous runs. Upon arriving in Japan, Ninjak and Roku are greeted by Ninja I and Ninja F, who are now working with the Jonin. We get a glimpse into their lavish lifestyle and learn about their motivations. They see the Jonin as a visionary, offering them a more fulfilling life than their previous criminal enterprises ever could. We then meet the Jonin in his private penthouse, and he informs Ninjak and Roku that Mary Beth is safe, but not with him. And then we get a recurring theme referenced here by the Jonin from previous runs of Ninjak. Everyone is motivated by something they're missing emotionally. For Roku, it's the desire for a daughter. For Ninjak, it's redemption for bringing Roku back to life. And these characters are intertwined in fascinating ways. And then the Jonin demonstrates his strength by swiftly bringing Roku to her knees with a few punches, and then reveals his motivations are tied to the lantern-eyed monks. These monks have powers through meditation like immortality and enlightenment, and the Jonin wants enlightenment. The only way he can achieve this is by eating the ashes of the most powerful monk, the undead monk. Now, in a previous run of Ninjak, Ninjak had thought that he had killed the undead monk, but the Jonin reveals that his mind is still anchored here on the earth because his ashes are still present on the earth. And Ninjak and Roku, having trained under the undead monk and having a psychic connection with him, are the best chance to retrieve these ashes. So if Ninjak and Roku are able to track down the undead monk's ashes and bring them back to the Jonin, he'll release Mary Beth. Ninjak and Roku then travel to Nepal to find the undead monk's ashes. Now, to locate the monk's ashes, they have to locate his mind. And the only way they can do that is to enhance their meditation power by entering the mind space. Ninjak reluctantly removes his psychic dampening helmet, making him vulnerable to telepathic influence. And in the mind space, Roku appears to be her former self, Angelina Alcott, indicating her longing for her previous life. So while meditating, the undead monk finds them instead of the other way around because of their emotional states. Then shockingly, Roku stabs Ninjak in the mind space, leaving him catatonic in reality. The comic ends with Ninjak asking if he is forgiven as his mind space self disintegrates, and Roku walks away from his body in real life. Wow, this issue is excellent. A.J. Ampadu knows exactly what his audience wants from a Ninjak comic and delivers it in spades. The dynamic character development, intriguing premise, and open-ended questions make me excited for future issues of this series. Now let's talk about the visual quality of Ninjak vs. Roku, issue number 2. Diego Garibaldi takes over pencils for this issue, and I was initially wary of this switch, especially after loving Emiliano Correa's art in issue number 1. But I'm pleasantly surprised yet again. Garibaldi's energetic art style, blending Western and Eastern influences, fits this series perfectly. The characters are consistently and meticulously drawn, with their emotions, actions, and fights depicted awesomely. The standout panel is where Roku stabs Ninjak, and every gory detail looks amazing. The locations, both interior and exterior, are drawn with great detail, giving context and place to the events of the comic. Garibaldi mixes up the types of shots he uses in each panel as well, from close-ups to medium shots, making for a visually appealing read. Lautaro Tuli's color work is also another high point of this comic. The lighting effects and dynamic rendering of characters are top-notch, and the realistic nature of the coloring is second to none. The locations are rendered flawlessly. The contrast between warm and cool colors also helps establish the atmosphere and tone for each scene. And lastly, the trade dress is excellent yet again, featuring a cardstock cover with art by Lila Leo and thick, glossy interior pages. To wrap up, Ninjak vs. Roku issue number 2 has a lot going for it, and AJ Ampadu and his creative team have done it again. The story provides dynamic character development, an intriguing premise, and enough open-ended questions to keep readers hooked. The artwork by Diego Garibaldi and colors by Lautaro Tuli are also outstanding, adding depth and detail to the narrative as a whole. And the negatives of this issue are that it ends. This is one of the single best Valiant comics I've read during the whole Road to Resurgence event. Overall, Ninjak vs. Roku issue number 2 was a great read, and I'm excited to see what comes out of future issues. Alright, thanks for tuning into this review on Comic Drops. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Of course, we'll see you in the next video where we'll discuss Exo Manowar Invictus issue number 4.